way. I can kind of see, but not.
Yeah, totally. Aloha, love watching Big Jockeys and Dreameroos. Check it out. I have got none other than Jan Bozarth. Hi, Jan.
Hey, everybody. Hi, Valerie.
Jan is in Austin, Texas right now, where she lives, but you've been rocking the South by Southwest conference.
South by Southwest is going strong. It's been happening for a week. You know, we have all the different sections of it, but the music part is started now, and the film part has started as well. And, you know, it's a crazy fun time to be in Austin.
Totally. Holy cow. It's on my bucket list to get there for South by Southwest. So yeah, next year. And so Jan is our special guest this week on the podcast. And, you know, we talked about her project called Dreameroo. And we also got to talk about a million other awesome things about nurturing your inner artist and giving yourself permission to be you and let your creative spirit come out. So Jan, let's do a quick dive. Like, what are the listeners going to get? And we'll talk about the experiment of the week too, about the lucid dreaming.
Yes. Dreameroo is a long time experiment on my end from my creative life as a producer and a writer and a musician. And I used to take on students, or I mentor people who were trying to make transitions in their lives of some kind. It could be a divorce, it could be a job change, just didn't know where they were going, wanted to express themselves creatively. And so I created this little working title called Dreameroo. And then as the years have gone by, I have evolved that into a company, and I am currently doing teaching and workshops and events that help people connect with that one true thing, that thing that they want to achieve. It can be a work thing, it can be a creative project, it can just be a personal goal. And they want to clear the decks of their lives and get it out into the world and have other people witness it. And part of the Dreameroo theory is that it's not just getting down to the thing that is most important to you, but it's also getting it out into the world and making it real and having your friends and family witness you, and then going along and creating that thing, whatever it is.
I love what you just said, because we didn't really cover this in the podcast, but I like you just said having your friends and family witness you. Like, that's really powerful. Like, it's that energy back and forth, symbiosis. It's gorgeous.
It's, you know how people will say something like, you know, I've always wanted to X, whatever that is. I've always wanted to be a writer. I've always wanted to perform in a musical or whatever. Of course, I choose all the artistic things, but it could be other types of things as well. And as long as you're keeping that inside yourself and you're not really professing that desire outwardly and being witnessed by people that are close to you, it can continue to be just a little dream inside of your head. And what I'm trying to do is really facilitate the creative process in everybody's individual way. So you don't have to be an artist to do this. I think a lot of people say, well, I'm not creative, so this doesn't appeal or pertain to me. But I don't think you need to be an artist to do this. You can have a personal goal of some kind or a dream to make some change in your life. And I work with both night dreams in the lucid dreaming world, which we did talk about in the podcast, but I also work with daydreams. And, we're used to thinking daydreaming is a bad thing, right? You know, you're kind of wandering off into space at your job. But I think of daydreaming as something quite different than that. So I work with all of that inner space for an individual and groups as well, and help them give some power to that and bring it into the world.
I love it. And you are obviously uniquely qualified for this because of your 30 years of professional experience in the arts and music and entertainment and tech industry. And, it always hasn't been this way though for you, like as far as it's so easy, it comes out and no problem.
I've been developing my own inner Dreameroo for my whole life. I obviously went into the arts early on and made a profession of that. But I think the world now is turning to meet me and my ideas about harnessing your dreams, and whether they be your night dreams or your daydreams, harnessing all of that energy I'm putting it out into the world in a creative and productive way. And the world is a lot different now. When I was a kid, they would say things like, "You're such a dreamer," like it's a bad thing, right?
Right.
Now we think of that, and we're beginning to think of it as something quite different and powerful. And creativity is one of the most sought after or desired skill sets for corporations that are hiring. So all of a sudden, these things have become more valuable.
Totally. And we talked about this in the podcast, just, machines definitely can do a lot of the left brain stuff and the left brain processing for us, as we go forward. So it's really critical for young people and people of all ages to really get comfortable and get good at feeling their creative spirit from any direction. But like we talked about in the podcast, whether it's from creating something, a business, creating a child, creating a project, it's problem solving, it's like a way for problem solving to come through in kind of fun ways, and so that's a huge skill set that we need for all of us.
Yes, it's problem solving, and it's also training yourself to be comfortable with uncertainty.
Yeah.
And the world as we know it is built on uncertainty. I mean, obviously things are changing at a very fast pace like never before. And if you're shooting into the future and you're thinking about, what am I going to do? How am I going to live? How would I like to change my life to live in a way that I'm more comfortable with? You're facing the gray zone, the part where you don't know anything for sure.
Totally.
And I think when you've been a creative person all your life, like I have, and many people out there have, uncertainty was a part of the gig, right? So now it's really more institutionalized than that. Our whole world is uncertain. So that's part of it too. And trusting yourself, your inner voice, and getting in touch with your inner self. And all of those things are a part of it.
It's so important. And it's interesting you talk about, and we talked about this on the podcast too, just being okay with the uncertainty of life, which is obviously there will certainly be uncertainty. And our guest this last week, the experiment that we've been working on is, dancing with discomfort, and, just getting comfortable with being uncomfortable and not shying away from it. And so what you're speaking of on, in the similar bucket is, being comfortable with the uncertainty, because that's something that can hold us back and paralyze us, as futuristic people who want to pave the way for the next level of humanity and our earth. And so it's like, just know that we don't know, but do it anyway.
Well, I think too, if you think of the dream space or imaginary space, where you're thinking or just trying to come up with an idea. And I mean, this has been institutionalized completely in tech companies or in creative businesses. There's this space, and I like to think of it as a space. It's a space that is undefined. You don't have something you're required to do, and you're allowing yourself to muse, just to wonder about inside your head and figure out what it is you want to say, if you're writing something, or if you want to create, or maybe you're just problem solving, but you need that inner space in order to problem solve. And I have claimed professionally now and personally, I have claimed the dream space as the space that I'm working in. And that, if you think of the night dream space, lots of people through history have talked about how they create in their dreams. They get ideas, they write songs, they make up stories, they problem solve. So clearly there's this untapped space if you're not already doing that. And that's the space that I like to work with. And it's like clay, you're going to mold it and shape it, but it's also very relaxing. It's not like you're on a deadline at work and you've got to knock out, these 7 things in 1 hour. It's a more free space. And so learning to use that free time and that free space internally is and can be very productive.
And so let's segue into the experiment of the week. And so it was interesting. The kids and I was driving them to school this morning and we were listening to the podcast together. My kids love it. And I was like, you guys are going to love Jan. She's awesome. And we were on the part about the lucid dreaming. And my daughter, Athena, she was like, oh, what exactly is that? You know, and of course we talked about it a little more deeper. So can you explain really, let everybody know what is going to be the experiment that you suggest for these next 7 days. And I know you have a 30-day dream experiment on your website too. So let's, the whole idea of the Big Dream School is really to invite people to do one simple thing for a week that will improve their lives and help them get closer to their dreams. And so you came up with doing the lucid dreaming, just experiment to test it out for folks.
Yeah. So the first thing you may or may not know if you're a lucid dreamer, what lucid dreaming is the ability to have an awareness of yourself inside the dream. And if you're really good at it, you can actually affect what happens in that dream. So you can willfully say, oh, that tiger is chasing me in that dream I have every night, and I want to turn and face the tiger and ask it what it wants. And so that is effectively changing the outcome of the dream and working within the dream space. And that's an advanced lucid dreamer. But there are different gradations of lucid dreaming, of course. So to start, I advise everybody to get a little journal or a tape recorder, a simple handheld recorder, or something you can do it into your phone now, of course. Have that by your bedside. And if it's a writing thing, if it's like a journal, have a pen there, because the idea is that after you've had a dream and you first open your eyes, there's this liminal space that you can remember that dream. And you want to be able to write down at least the feeling of the dream into your journal or record it on your recording device before your feet hit the ground. Once your feet hit the ground, all bets are off. You may or may not remember it, or you may remember just pieces of it. And it doesn't matter if you remember all of it, just get the most important parts down. And the most important parts are any symbols that seem to show up in your dreams over and over again, or feeling. If it's just an overarching feeling, like I was afraid, or I felt sad, or you want to capture the feeling and the symbols if you can. Of course, if you go on my website, dreameroo.com, you can download the first chapter of my new and up and coming book, 30 Days to Dream, which is a dream practice. And it gives you a way to set that up, the first 30 days of that process. And that's free. It's a free download. So go get that and set yourself up to build into your life the capturing of that space, and to be able to use that space efficiently and joyfully, because sometimes it's just play. It's a playground. It's a playground of the mind, and no telling what you'll come out with. You might be capturing something that's deep inside you that you really never thought about before. So it's really giving a lot of power and credence to that space. And so the week's experiment would be just to do that for a week and see if you can play in your dream space, or maybe you have something cooking in there that you hadn't thought about and you want to get it down on paper and think about it. So if you just try it for a week, just keep that journal or that recorder right next to your bed. Don't let your feet touch the ground before you get it down.
That's huge info, like not letting your feet touch the ground. It's not something I've heard before with, doing dream journaling when I wake up. So I'm definitely going to practice that in our experiment. It's going to be fun. I'm going to do this with my kids too.
Hey, well, having breakfast and talking about your dreams is one of the most intimate, fun experiences with anybody, your kids especially. My kids grew up that way, so we always talk about our dreams, and I love it. And when they come to me or call me or write me and say, I had this dream last night, whatever that is, I feel so special, because someone that I love is sharing their most intimate thoughts and feelings with me. Totally. So it's a great relationship tool as well.
Oh, I like hearing that. That's so cool. Gosh, this is so fun. I could talk to you for infinity. I love you. I think you're such a special woman.
It's just Austin, right? So we have to make that happen.
I'm definitely coming to Austin at some point. And so, and we're going to need to go do our immersive experience, like little field trips, and go to the domes and go to some other fun places together and do some field research so we can keep moving forward on these fun projects. So Jan, you got so many cool experiments and stuff that's up your sleeve that you're developing right now. And, you know, all of you guys, all of you Dreameroos, all you dream jockeys, the Love Tribe, you guys have got to go listen to this podcast and check out Jan and her website and all the beautiful creations that she's making. And really, there's so much more we could go. I mean, like I said, we could talk for hours, but, you know, whatever that little dream is that lives inside of you, it has that little spark that Jan, you know, talks about, and a lot of us dreamers talk about. And it's there, I promise. It might be underneath some layers of trauma or some, you know, your life just turned into a big shit show and hit the fan, and whether it's health or money or relationships or whatever, I promise you, I promise you, I promise you, there is hope and there is your dream that wants to come out. And so when you feed it and you talk to it, it can be the source for you to keep moving forward these really tough times. So, you know, this podcast is really dedicated to you dreamers who are on the floor maybe right now crying, feeling like, what am I going to do? I don't know if there's a tomorrow for me. And there is. And Jan is a testament of that, because she has gone through a lot that you guys will learn about. I'm not going to talk about it right now, but she is a warrioress and a survivor, and so are you guys. So let's rock this, you know what I mean? And so the song of the week too, Jan, we picked out, this is a song you wrote with your son. And I mean, how cool is that to write music with your son? Woohoo! Yeah, it is fun. Do you want to share about it just really little briefly?
Are we going to learn to fly?
Yeah.
Okay, so I wrote and produced a series of books for preteen girls a few years ago called the Fairy Godmother Academy. And because of my background being in music and other formats, I also wrote some of the music for it for the media. And then we did a live show that we went to Comic-Con and FairyCon and all these cons, right? Oh, and we did this live show with kids dressed up in costumes. And Shane, my eldest son, was the co-writer on this and the producer. And so this is just the instrumental version of it. It has lyrics, but we didn't have a good recording of that. So this is called Learn to Fly. And the background behind this is that the last book of the series, the little girl is a climber. She's like a rock climber, and she has to learn to get through this hole in the sky to complete her mission up in this place that's above the clouds. And so Learn to Fly is about that. And it's also a metaphor for breaking free, just like all the Dreameroos out there that I hope will break free when they find that little thing inside themselves, and then they learn to fly. So
yay.
That's it.
Yeah. And music obviously touches our heart and opens us up to a different potential within us, I believe. And that's why, you know, it touched me as a DJ, and that's why I became a DJ. I'm like, oh my gosh, music can turn my life into this feeling in the moment. Like, it's medicine, in my opinion. And so I actually have an episode coming up called Music is the Medicine and the DJ is the Doctor. So I'm going to put that out on my birthday in a couple of weeks, actually. So 2 weeks from today, I'll release that one. But it's true. Like, music really does, you know, it can take us to different levels of vibration and frequency. And so I think it's just, it's so magical. So we're going to listen, you know, all this stuff is on the show notes at the, at our website over here at DJ Val. But, yeah, everybody, thank you so much, Jan. And you are so amazing. I'm just like, you're so cool. Thank you for being on our podcast. I just feel like overwhelmed and honored that you took all this time to share with us. So it's worth it. Everybody, go listen to the podcast. Jan is a wealth of wisdom and love and big dreams for sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. All right. So everybody, at the end of the episodes, we like to do this together. Yeah, and then we exhale some love. Woohoo! All right. Rock on, Jan. Thank you so much. And
see you soon.
Yeah, that sounds good. All right. Aloha, everybody.